The trick to treating your offices. So in our recent What's Hot, What's Not video, we talked about to treat or not to treat. Should you bring treats to referring doctors' offices? But the question also comes up, if we're going to bring treats to referring doctors' offices, what treats should we bring? Who should we treat? How should we treat them? So we wanted to talk a little bit more as a follow-up about the trick to treating your referring doctor's offices. So who should you bring treats to? I don't know about you, Kate, but for me, I always like to bring treats to on cold calls or to new referring doctors' offices that I didn't know, that I didn't have a relationship with. I always feel like it's a little bit easier for them to want to build a relationship with you, or for them to let you get past the gatekeeper when you show up with something nice in hand. So whether that's their favorite treat or your favorite treat or something to share, that is definitely one of the offices I like to bring treats to. I'm sure that you have offices as well that you like to bring treats to. What are some of your favorite offices to bring treats?
I mean, I love a good treat when it's a difficult office, right?
Oh,
I
for
think
sure. Yes.
it's really hard to be combative with somebody that's showing up like with, a literal peace offering, right?
Right. Yes.
So that's a great thing for that. I also like to bring it to offices that maybe work with a competitor and you keep showing up in that office. We've talked about that in other videos about never saying never. If you come with treats, it's actually like at least the staff is happy to see you, right? You may not be getting anywhere with that doctor that day, but at least you're still showing up and you're taking care of them, right? Which, as we know, can benefit you down the road. So I like to save it for that as well. And of course, like you said, when you're either new in your territory or you have a new office, it's almost like when you move into a new house and you have a neighbor that brings you a pie, right? It's like that
Yeah.
new beginnings. It's just a great gesture. It really is. So that's the who. Another question we get a lot is the what. Like, what do I bring?
What do I bring?
Right?
Right. Yeah.
Everybody knows we bring donuts, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a not well kept sales rep secret, is bringing donuts.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
But some other things. I mean, sometimes offices are on a maybe a diet or something together, or they're health conscious. And so what are some other options? In the morning, aside from donuts, I love to bring smoothies, maybe from
Ooh,
Jamba
that's a good
Juice,
one. Hmm.
Panera, right? I know you've mentioned like fruit trays or fruit and cheese platters. In the afternoon, I love to bring something like Starbucks refreshers, right? Or in a granola bar, or if there's a bakery nearby that they really like, maybe picking up some mini cupcakes, just something like that. It doesn't always have to be the same thing over and over. And don't forget, they get treated from your competitors too. So sometimes when you think outside the box, it makes a little bit more of an impression, right? What are
Right.
some of your
Yeah.
suggestions?
So some of my favorites. So in the morning, I also think breakfast burritos are really good.
Oh,
And honestly,
yes,
they are super inexpensive if you find the
they
right
are.
place. So you can do breakfast burritos that are really, really great price. That's very budget friendly. So I love
Yes.
breakfast burritos. The other thing that I like is um, a branded candy jar that you can
Oh, yeah.
stick in the office, and then you refill it with lifesavers or mints or chocolate, whether you're the chocolate person or the mint person. And so, like, just set yourself apart as that person where the office knows, like, you're that person. And the question sometimes comes up, do you leave the candy jar at the front with the gatekeeper, or do you leave it in the back in the break room? What do you think the answer to that question is, Kate? Do you know?
Get 2 candy jars. No.
Exactly. Okay, so that's exactly it. If you have the budget, get 2 candy jars, one for the front so that it's visible to patients and to
Right.
everybody coming and going into the office. And that's also a great time for you while you're filling that to just build that relationship with that gatekeeper. But if you have to choose one or the other, then I would say put it in the back in the break room, because that gives you an opportunity to get past the gatekeeper and also talk to and engage with the rest of the staff in the office.
Yeah.
But those are super inexpensive. I mean, once you get the expense of the candy jar out of the way, just refilling that is super inexpensive, and candy is easy to
Yeah.
carry around in your car, especially if it's like lifesavers or mints or something. It doesn't melt in the Texas heat. Like sometimes
Don't
the
do
mini
chocolate,
cupcakes
guys, not
do.
until November.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
chocolate, yeah, like the chocolate, or sometimes the mini cupcakes do in the summer. So, so those are easy. They're budget friendly. The other thing I like to do sometimes too is even, like go to Target or the party store, and there's those little party tins. If you want to get those in your brand color and put your brand sticker on it, put a little tissue paper in there, and then whatever little candy that fits your brand color or your brand personality, leave those behind. And it's super fun when once all the candy's gone out of those to see how those get repurposed throughout the office. So I've seen those as pin holders.
Cute.
Yeah, I've seen offices reuse those as a place that they put their pins up front. And it's super fun to walk in and see like your sticker and your, brand there in their office, and just see how they recycle and reuse those. So those are some fun treats that are budget friendly.
Right.
I mean, there's so many, like we could talk about so many things, and things that aren't even
Yes.
necessarily food. And I think you mentioned when people are diet conscious or health conscious. And so, in the fall, I think it's fun to do like apple and caramel, apple slices and caramel. And the people that are healthy can eat the apple slices, and the people that aren't
Yeah.
healthy can dip it in the caramel. And
Right.
same in the
Little
spring with
something.
like strawberries and whipped cream. So, I mean, there's just so many ideas. There's just so many things we could probably
Yeah.
talk about this forever, but those are some of my
Yeah.
go-to.
Or like with, if there's a holiday coming up, you may find that I know Panera often has a holiday sugar cookie, right?
Those are
Just
so
bring
fun and
in,
they're really good.
they're
Yes.
so good. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
they're good. Don't read the nutritious facts, but yeah, they are very good.
Right.
So yeah, like
That's why it's
something
called
like
a
that.
treat.
Yeah, treat. Something like that, just to go with the holiday that's coming up or what season you're in, that can be great too.
Mhm.
And then as far as that's what, and then the other question was when.
Yes. Yeah. How often should you bring treats? And the reality is you don't ever have to bring a treat at all.
Right.
Most important thing
Sometimes your budget's not there. You can't. Yeah.
Right, right. And the most important thing is, are you bringing value to the
Yeah.
offices and to their patients? That's way more important than any treat that you could ever bring. And so the reality is you don't have to bring a treat ever, especially if it's not compliant or not legal for you to bring a treat, or if the budget's not there. But if you do want to bring a treat, when is, like kind of like what we talked about in the beginning, when somebody's a new office, if they're an office that you have a relationship with, but you haven't brought a treat in a while. And so it's just kind
Right.
of fun to say, hey, thanks for your partnership. And so
Mhm.
then we want to bring a treat. And I would say I don't recommend that you bring a treat on every call necessarily, or you don't have to, but I do recommend that you leave something behind on every
Yeah.
single
Yeah.
call. And
Right.
so it doesn't have to be candy, it doesn't have to be goodies, but a brochure, a business card, something to let people know that you're there, and something that your message resonates long after you're there.
Absolutely. That's imperative. Yeah.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on that?
Well, I would,
When do you like to bring your treats?
yeah, I think same times. And I think if you really need like a super easy criteria to meet to treat, or to not, or one thing could just be like if you have an appointment. Like if you have an
Oh,
appointment meeting, a scheduled meeting, then go ahead and bring the treats, because then at least you're going to be, the likelihood of those treats lasting beyond your presence there. They're going to remember like, oh yeah, we talked about XYZ and she brought tacos, right? Versus just you don't have an appointment, it's a drop in. You could hardly speak to anyone, or you could only speak to the receptionist, but you also just spent, $40 in smoothies. Like
right.
those are
Yeah.
easy ways to measure. And I think the time of the
That's
day
really
as well.
good. Mhm.
Like depending on what time of day it is, because sometimes if you're coming in the late afternoon, everybody needs a pick me up around 2-3 o'clock, right?
Right.
That's a
Yeah.
great time to bring a treat, right? For breakfast, a lot of times people have already taken care of their own breakfast. So maybe if you don't have an appointment, maybe you don't bring them that time. But that's an easy one, is if you've got a scheduled meeting, bring something. If it's not a lunch meeting or a breakfast meeting specifically, go ahead and bring a little something for the meeting.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, I like that. I think that's a good approach too, if it's a scheduled meeting. And that way, you know, for sure, somebody's going to be there to be able to receive and accept the treats.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, so those are our tricks to bringing treats. Let us know in the comments below how and when
Yeah.
you like to bring treats and what treats that you like to bring. We'd love to hear from you.